Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth episode of Vet Talks, powered by MetaVet Plus. I'm your host today, Alfred Pallarca, and I'm here today with a very special guest, Alessia from the Diesis Network.
Hello.
Alessia, could you introduce yourself and perhaps the Diesis Network?
Yes. Welcome everyone. My name is Alessia Sebillo. I'm the Executive Director of Diesis Network. Diesis is enabling, supporting organization at national level for developing social economy all around the world. We have also collaboration with many organizations outside Europe. Our members are now around 60 in different countries, and we develop knowledge-based activities in order for them to improve their competencies, to build their capacity, but especially to exchange, under the form of peer learning activities. So really bringing the community together, make it better what they are doing, improve their competencies, and push social economy, social entrepreneurship, social innovation forward.
Nice. Okay, and perhaps you can talk more about how the Diesis Network is supporting skills development and vocational education in the social economy.
Yes. So as I just mentioned, our activities are mainly knowledge-based activities. So the idea is really on two different levels. So for the members to offer them directly trainings or capacity buildings or learning activities in order for them to structure better what they are doing at policy level, but also on more technical and concrete action in supporting social enterprises, social economy organizations, but also in the collaboration among them and among other stakeholders, mainstream businesses, public authorities, everyone that can help the ecosystem to grow. These, of course, happen many times more on skills, of course, but in a less structured and formal system. While at the national level, through our projects or supporting them to implement action at national level, they also deliver trainings. We do have in our ecosystem a lot of social economy supporting organizations who also are vet providers, for instance. So they really have the competencies, but also the recognition to deliver more formal trainings. Having collaboration with universities is for us very important, something that we are working on quite strongly. It's always been the case, but for the future we really believe that we should look at this more in depth. So
that's very interesting. And in your opinion and your experience, how do you think cooperatives and social enterprises contribute to vocational training and lifelong learning?
So we do have different way of doing it. An example to make it very concrete, there are, for instance, also funds that are taken directly from the employees of the social economy organizations in order to reinvest in their own skills and competencies. And there are funds where the manager of the cooperative, for instance, funds that can be asked with specific projects, specific objectives of upskilling or reskilling. So you can again see this in so many different levels. What is very important, I believe, is that social economy has quite in these values this sense of we can get better always, but we have quite inside our structure the idea that lifelong learning is fundamental in order for us as organization not only to last longer, to be sustainable in terms of economic aspect, but also in terms of what kind of services and product we are offering, what kind of activities we are offering to the communities where we are based.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And then I think you mentioned already, but what role should they play in upskilling workers? Just to emphasize more on that.
Yes. So the upskilling, it's for sure one of the main things that we have been working in the last years. And for instance, with the base project, the idea is really to look at the competencies that are missing for such challenging time that we are living. It's clear that the digital and the green transition were and then pushed also further through the policy frameworks, the Commission, but also from the governments. But yeah, social economy has this specificity on how we do things. So the same technical competence that could be applied to any other enterprise sometimes is not enough for us, because it's not looking to the specificity, you know, the democratic approach, the participation of the workers, the values that we have inside, you know, the putting the people at the center. It is not the same if you just install a solar panel or if you decide to work with something that should go in the trash, but you want to rebuild on this and you want to recuperate whatever is going to become waste, and to use the what for others is waste as a resource, and social economy was among the first to see, for instance, in the waste a resource.
Right.
So, but for this you need skills, you need upskilling yourself and your workforce.
Yeah, basically developing the workforce and the human behind the work, right?
Exactly.
Speaking of this, I think you mentioned as well the lack of specific skills. What specific skills do you think that we should be focusing on, that needs to be developed when it comes to this digitalization, all the artificial intelligence? What do you think would be the upcoming skills that needs to be focused on when it comes to development?
We mentioned before the critical thinking, and for sure critical thinking is important for the social economy, but generally for every human being that is living our time. This is something very complicated to build, but it can be done. I mean, we can teach the kids how to approach to the social media, for instance, or to the AI, and I think that demonize the tools, digital tools or digital softwares will go nowhere. I think that I was doing this a comparison with some friends. I think that the gap that our parents lived in terms of digitalization with us is much larger compared to what is the gap that we are living with, or we will live with our kids. Yes, things are going fast, but we know the language. They didn't know the language, and they learned the language. So I'm not scared about this. I think really that we need to be prepared in terms of critical thinking, for sure, on how to use them, how to smartly integrate them in our practices, how to be sure that our data are treated well. And on this, for instance, social economy is doing a great job. We just launched at the end of 2024 this code of conduct, also on the governance of data. Having an ally in the social economy on how we can make the difference also on this, how we can look at a way where we can advance digitally, but always without forgetting that the people are the most important part of it. And even if some works might change and evolve and maybe even disappear, there will be other coming, and the point is always how you evolve as society, not the fact that you evolve, but what you put in the middle as value. This is what makes the difference. And critical thinking probably is the baseline for growing well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I think I mentioned earlier during the event, we were talking about how critical thinking, when it comes to digitalization, perhaps people are becoming complacent when it comes to certain aspects, and they kind of maybe lose part of this critical thinking. So yeah, maybe you mentioned the BASE project, which we're working on with EVB and Diesis Network. So perhaps you can maybe talk briefly about the BASE project and talk about the overview and initiatives of this project.
So BASE project started with the idea that, so first of all, is a blueprint project co-funded under the Erasmus Plus program from the European Commission. And the idea is to give a framework to the sector, and specifically we wanted to look at the transition for the sector. So to look to what were the gaps in terms of skills for the social economy organizations in terms of digital, green and fair and inclusive transition. So we decided to have the approach of the triple transition, because I mean, again, the third element is fundamental for us. So we spent the first year implementing a research that was quite in-depth, involving many stakeholders at national level and European level. The partnership is composed by 25 partners, both from the educational sector and the social economy sector, and cover 10 countries. So the idea was to go through in each country to this analysis of where the let's say market is going for the social economy, what are the needs in terms of skills, what already exists that has been implemented, because sometimes it's just a matter of communicating, yeah, and to be able to see what is already there. So we try to map as much as possible what was already existing in order to address also the most urgent needs in case they were matching, and for where there was this match, we decided to elaborate a framework of competence that is owned by the social economy, that we called socio-comp. So the socio-comp that is done on the example of other important, of course, framework competencies promoted by the European Commission, such as the DigiComp, the EntroComp, and the LifeComp, wanted to bring in one unique place the main, let's say, competencies with the lens of social economy for the triple transition. So we can really find there different level and different competencies, and for each competence, if it's addressed to the workers, to the middle management, or to the management, top management, and to the enabler. That is who we represent, of course, as the Diesis Network. The enablers organizations have a very important role in all this. On one hand, because they see, they can read the changes, they can read the need, and they can lead on also funding opportunities where the specific enterprise, the specific cooperatives, for instance, is a bit lacking in terms of networking or having also the time, you know, to go around, participate to events, participate to info days. So we are there to do so. You know, we are there to look for the opportunities, to read the challenges, to read the new trends, where the society is going and where the social economy is going, and to match them.
Nice. It's a very interesting project. And speaking of BASE, how do you think it supports vocational education and training? How do you think it intersects the outcomes of the projects and its activities to the initiatives that we are doing as EVV in vocational education and training?
I'm not sure if supports, but I'm sure that includes, you know, the educational sector and especially the training sector. I have been working in formal education, I mean, in like vet education since I was 21. So it has been very long path, and I can tell you that the attention and reputation that skills and vet providers have today was not the same 15, 16 years ago. So I think that the fact of putting, you know, the vet providers in the center as key actors, key actor is really, really important, because in the end, not everyone goes to university, not everyone has this academia career, but almost everyone passed through a training delivered by a vet provider. So if we can professionalize, if we can make stronger the offer, and also building the competencies of the vet providers and making them closer to the different sector and to the specificity of each sector, that is what we want to do with BASE. In some case, there are training providers that comes from the social economy. In other case, they don't. So we are teaching to each other, you know, what we know about social economy and what they know about education, in order to see how we can progress together.
Yeah. So I mean, the goal is to basically increase employability for people, not just in vet, but in all aspects of the workforce, right? So it's important to upskill and distinguish all these skills gaps.
You don't. I mean, social economy works a lot with vulnerable groups. Vulnerable groups are not talking with academia. So if someone can reach them, it can help them in getting within the labor market, is the vet sector, is not the university.
Right.
So that's why there is this need of collaboration. We do work with vulnerable groups, and to have more adapted trainings, and also in terms of both in terms of content, but again also in terms of structure, to make it more flexible, to make it more adapt to the need that is not only the market needs, is the person need, languages, different ways of learning, time, life. You know, everyone has different situation, comes from different backgrounds, so it is important to take this in the picture when we deliver a training. And I believe that the vet providers are the best placed, you know, in reading those needs and deliver more adapted trainings.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last thing about the BASE project, what is the future for this project and some initiatives? Maybe you can also disseminate or communicate some information about the project.
Thanks for the question. So next phase will be very, very interesting, and it's a good moment also to disseminate. We are now finalizing a mock platform where we will deliver around 10 different trainings on very interesting specific content. So the platform will be open to everyone. We are now in the phase of piloting and internal piloting in order to adjust and to make the last changes. But then starting in May, it will be open, and people from the 10 countries, but not only, can access to it. The 10 modules, the 10 trainings will be delivered all in English, and each of them in one of the 10 languages, 9 because France and Belgium have shared French, of course. So of course it's a piloting project, so we could not do everything in all the languages, but we wanted to give a professional aspect to it. There will be AI also used, so it was also a way for us to build our own competencies, to already see how we could use and implement and push forward on this. And then there will be also the possibility to participate to face-to-face sessions. So every country will deliver his own training that is part on the MOOC that is open to everyone and part face-to-face. So you will need to follow us to see where and when the trainings will be delivered, but do, because it's very important. And then something else that I want to mention is our magazine. So in the framework of the BASE project, we decided to deliver a magazine that is published every 6 months. That is a collective effort from the partners, but from the other friends, let's say, from social economy. Every time there is a call for participation, so people coming from social economy can actually send articles, interviews, good practices, tools that then are elaborated and fit within the magazine. Every time there is a different topic. We did skills, that was the first. We did collaboration between mainstream organization, enterprises and social economy. We will do the creative and cultural industry, and now we are working on science democracy, let's say. So really how social economy has this way of simplify difficult concepts to spread them in the community. So it's with yes, also the looking at the, as we were saying before, the collaboration with academia, collaboration with the educational system. So it will be very interesting too. The call will be open soon. So
okay, very exciting. Sounds like you have plenty of results that we are more than excited to see, and the magazine would be also interesting. So please share it to us.
Absolutely, we will.
I'm sure Diana and EVB will be a part of working on the magazine. So yeah.
And then of course there is the website, socialeconomyskills.eu, and there you can find everything that you need, and then there are of course the LinkedIn page that also can be followed.
Perfect. We'll make sure to put that on the link and on the video description. My penultimate question, speaking of social economy, how do you think collaboration between social economy and the VET sector, VET institutions, can be strengthened? And if you have seen best practices or examples lately?
BASE is it's a very good practice. Huh? So I think that I don't know if I have the answer on how, but for sure it must be done. Mm-hmm. You know, we have to work together more. We have to talk more. Also, I think that sometimes, and this is a general feeling that I have, that everyone works a bit, in his own court, let's say, and yes, and it's. We were also saying before, no, we should sometimes slow down a bit and to take more time to really talk to each other and really understand what are the needs and not just running. So it's true that the societies unfortunately bring us to run all the time, but we should be smarter. We should really take the time to discuss and to plan together and have a common strategy. I think that this is the way we should do.
I remember this concept from my university years about social acceleration, and we are basically, as you mentioned, we are on a treadmill constantly and we're running around. So yeah, I agree with you. We need to slow down and reflect and communicate and talk to each other and see what kind of progress we need to do. My last question would be, what would be your key message for educators, policymakers about the role of social economy in vocational education and also workforce development?
So for me would be, I would really like to one day see how social economy becomes something mainstream, where the values and the idea that there is behind the social economy organizations can be transversally applied. Also to schools, we have examples in Spain, for instance, of cooperative schools, where in the university, it's the economic and managerial path. We are not only talking about marketing, about general economics, etc. We are also talking about social economy. So for I mean, of course, the teachers and professors, I think that the message is really to look at what are the values of the social economy, to get in contact with any kind of local organization that is around. If you are planning activities, you are planning as customers, as consumers, we have a huge power. And we can't believe that one person cannot make the difference. One person can make the difference. So if we start thinking how we buy, what we learn, how we teach, how we choose, everything in our life, this will really make the difference. So buy social, think social, and act social.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a good closing message. Individual responsibility, but also social or collective responsibility.
Absolutely.
Responsibility from the collective, right? Before we go, maybe you can plug Diesis Network and where they can find you, your website or social media.
Yes, so Diesis Network has, of course, a LinkedIn page that is the most animated one. We are working now on the new website, but you can look for diesis.coop as cooperative. We are a cooperative ourselves. In order to represent and to also to live the challenges of the social economy, but yeah, I would say social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the website.
Great, thank you so much, Alessia.
Thank you
so much, Alessia, for this wonderful conversation and discussion. And see you next time for our next episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.